This is Guy Fieri. Here it is, ladies and gentlemen, the show we've been waiting for. Full of insults and insights, highlights and hot topics, bad jokes and cheap values. It's the one-stop shop for everything you don't need but gotta have. So sit down, hold on, call your boss because you're gonna be late. This is the Opie Radio Show. Oh yeah, and Carl.
This is the Opie Radio Podcast, episode 1, and I find myself in the middle of New Jersey, in the woods. I am currently on a dirt road. Yes, I got to put my seatbelt on. Rough terrain ahead, and I'm going to get Carl Ruiz, the Cuban. You might know him from the Food Network. He's Guy Fieri's very good friend. He's a star on the Food Network. Wins all the time on grocery games. And I decided if I was going to start a podcast that I wanted to do it my own way. Westwood One had such big, giant plans for me. They wanted me to have this first episode in front of a live audience with a ton of fans. They wanted me to get A-list celebrities. They wanted me to get the media there and make it a huge over-the-top event. Tim Sabean also told me that the first podcast could actually be simulcasted on the big Jumbotron in Times Square. And I told Tim Sabean and Westwood One, I said, I don't want to do any of that. I want to do it my way. So with that said, I'm on this dirt road. I'm 800 feet from Carl's cabin. There's a lot of really old-looking houses out here and barns, a lot of abandoned houses. Oh, my God, my car is just rocking back and forth. Is he really living out here? I got to get out of the car now because I honestly don't know. Wait, is that him over there? I'm now getting out of my truck, and I'm now walking up to Carl's cabin. The front door is wide open, just swinging in the wind. This is how it all begins. I got to remind myself, I used to be a big radio star, and now I'm in the middle of the woods in New Jersey, walking up to a house that looks abandoned.
Front yard.
That's your front yard?
Front yard. The parking's up there. What are you, Zsa Zsa Gabor? This is the. Do you see where my car's parked up there, where there's no grass?
I parked where
people walk there.
I parked where the gravel is.
No, there's gravel everywhere. This is the woods.
There's no gravel everywhere. This is a
toilet paper. I gotta take out the garbage.
Where are we going with your garbage?
The truck. You can't leave the garbage here because the bears will come. They'll hump the garbage and then they'll eat your face.
You don't have garbage pickup?
You do, but you want to pet a bear every morning when you wake up?
What are you talking
There's
about?
There's giant bears here.
Do you own that too?
No, I don't own that yet.
What do you mean yet?
Well, I want to buy that one, but it's hard to get a mortgage on it because it has a, it's not really a septic system. I think they just shit and throw it in the grass.
So we're walking to your van to put the garbage in?
Right, and then I'll put the garbage out in the city.
So you're trying to save money on garbage pickup?
What are you talking about, save money on garbage? I'm not saving any money.
Look at all the garbage in your
That's
van.
my laundry. What's wrong with you?
Oh, that's your laundry?
Yes.
How can you tell the difference between your laundry and your garbage?
Oh, it's like talking to Donald Trump Jr. Have you ever been out here?
In the woods?
Yeah.
I've been in the woods.
You're something, Opie.
Yeah, I'm something. God forbid.
You've been here for 5 minutes. You ruined everything.
God forbid I park my car.
Hold the job because you don't respect anything.
What are you talking about? This is fun. I was telling everyone that I have to remind myself that I was a big radio star, and now I'm walking up to this. What is this? Where are you living?
Isn't this awesome? Set it up nice. I put a little Spanish candle out for you.
Is that where we're podcasting?
Yes. Look, I made a look. It's got AstroTurf and everything.
I see that. You don't live here, do you?
Yes.
Are you serious?
Yeah. Look, I'm drying the coal because it got wet, so I can. It's my bedroom right here. See, I got carpet at Walmart the other day.
Very nice. Bro, I have to pretty much duck, though.
What do you mean?
I'm not that tall, but the ceilings can't be more than 6.5 feet.
Well, you're taller than the average cabiner.
Yeah. Wait, is this the whole house?
This is it.
We walked 10 feet.
No, there's more there. You want to go to the West Wing?
Wait,
don't go in there yet. I'm cleaning.
Oh, okay. What?
You don't want to see that.
No.
No, I had an episode in there.
Blew up your bathroom.
A wild turkey came to the window and I made a mess out of everything.
Why would you make a mess if a wild turkey comes to your window?
And then poo everywhere.
Wait, this is your kitchen?
This is the kitchen. This is a little low, on the low side.
You think?
Yeah, you got to be careful. You hit your head. Wow, you're really... that's the equipment?
Yeah.
You're walking around with a 1988 iPod?
I got a tiny little recorder.
This is embarrassing.
Do you need help with the garbage?
No, I don't want you to do anything. You're already driving all over people's property.
Wait, we have to go back to the van with more garbage?
Take another walk to the van.
And I'm in a kitchen that can't be more than, let me think, 6 feet by maybe 10. And the ceilings in Carl's cabin is really, like, kind of low to begin with.
For me, they're normal.
What?
For me, they're normal. Normal height. Doesn't bother me at all.
Well, then you get in the kitchen, and then you got a slope. So literally on the right side of your kitchen, I can't stand.
Opie, are you a realtor? You're literally describing my house. It's not for sale.
But you got to make this stuff visual.
I understand. You want to make something visual? Tell them about that little pacemaker you're walking around with a microphone.
Look how old it is.
Oh, my God.
We used to be in a state-of-the-art studio, and now I'm walking...
Fabian steal that from Gary Dell'Abate in '88?
Tim is so mad at me because I was saying in the car when I started this thing that Westwood One had like big plans for us. They're like, okay, your first episode, we want it in front of a live audience, in front of all your screaming fans. They're gonna be so excited to see you. And then I want you to call all your A-list, friends, and we'll just stack the lineup with all these celebrities, and we'll call the media and make sure they're there filming the whole thing. And then Westwood One tells me that they have such connections that they can put our first episode of the podcast on the Jumbotron in Times Square.
This all sounds like it's not true. Because you're at my cabin.
No, well, that's my point, though. So I go, Tim, man, that all sounds good, but you got to let me do it my way. And this is my way. What do you think?
I think it's an awful idea.
You don't like the idea?
I like the idea. It's fun. It's great to have you up here. What do you think about my little cabin in the woods?
It's a little weird.
Why is that? Is it the yellow?
I think you have a story to tell when I get the podcast equipment inside, because this is a little weird. I know how you were living, and now you're living like this, so something had to have happened.
A lot of stuff happened. The Cuban doesn't end up in the woods for no reason.
Well, what we're going to do is we're going to haul... Oh, wait, come here. I know you've done a lot of walking already, but now we got to walk... Now we got to walk back to my car, all right?
And you got to move it, too.
Why? No one's in that.
People are going to come home. That guy, he's got 2 fucking bloodhounds there. They're going to eat your whole fucking car. Just put the car over there.
I don't feel like moving. I'm not moving. All right, listen. So then we got to... I'll turn this portable unit off. Look at this.
That's not doing anything.
I don't even know if it's on.
Totally not. You're just talking to Mike like 2 dum-dums in the woods.
Can you describe this? What is it?
Timmy McVeigh had one in the woods just like this.
And look.
No way.
Look at all this. That's the equipment that they gave me. And, it's a full setup, but it's really heavy. We don't have an engineer. We don't have a producer. Yeah. Literally, you got me. And that. So we're going to bring all that in and set it up proper, I guess.
There's the sticker that says property of Westwood One costs more than the headphones that are in.
Hey, do you have a basketball? I see you got a basketball hoop over there.
That's not for you.
Why?
I tried that. No, but the thing is that there's mud right on the bottom of it.
Right.
And then there's a rock. So if it hits it, the ball goes right in the woods and you get a deer tick.
Wait, there's deer ticks around here?
God,
bro.
Everywhere.
Here, let's walk around the outside of your cabin. Sure. I thought the tour of Carl's cabin would take a little longer than
so, it's quaint.
How many square feet is this for real?
A square foot.
This can't be more than...
500 maybe.
Maybe 500 square feet.
450. It's like a New York City apartment.
I can't lie, Carl. I wanted to make fun of it. I kind of like it. There's a lot of opportunities to really break your neck on your in your backyard here.
So then you walk all the way through these leaves right here, and then if you walk all.
Wait! They like stuff like this. Walk. They like that. They like all the sounds.
This way past these big trees, and then there's a little lake that I have access to.
Yeah.
So it's great. The well is right up there where that pipe is. The water's delicious here.
Wait, you got to get your own water?
It's a well, yeah. There's no nothing. This is a well and a septic tank. That's it.
So how do you take a shower?
A well has a pump, Opie.
No, I mean, how do you take
a
shower?
What are you, Thurston Howell? Have you ever been...
How do you take a shower in your house?
It has a shower.
Yeah, but I don't get how, like, you get water from the well and then
It
what?
has a pump, a gravity-fed pump, and it shoots the water into the pipes like everything else. It has pressure like anything else.
All right, I got it.
So down that way is a blind kid camp.
Really?
Dude. The other day there was one just like totally blind, like
Just wandering
and
around?
everybody comes out like that way.
When I was growing up, we lived close to an old age home, and every once in a while, one would get away and start wandering down 25A.
Right. Well, here's the blind kids. All of a sudden you get a random blinder.
Really?
Oh my God! And the people here, they don't get it, so they're yelling at him, making the kid go in circles because he's blind. So like that way. The kid's going right into a bush because then he gets flustered. You know what I mean?
You think?
Yeah.
All right, what else could you show me? I guess this is it for the cabin.
And the street's up that way, and then we can drive up the road, and there's a place called Picatinny Arsenal, which is one of the shadiest places you'll ever see. It's where they test all the firearms for the government. And there's a part that I figured out to go through the woods where you can see them where they test the rail gun from this giant gun that they put on tracks just in case. It's crazy.
Oh, I would love to see that.
Dude, it's its own city. You're not allowed to go in. They got helicopters. They got the crazy shit. Here's a rock.
Yeah, I see the rock. Yeah. It's a giant rock. I'm starting to think that maybe I should have listened to Tim Sabian.
What's about what?
About doing this proper in front of a live audience with our fans.
Yeah, maybe this wasn't the smartest thing.
With some A-list celebrities, the media, the Jumbotron.
They have a dog that's way too excited. He's like a 60-pound pit bull.
Really?
But he's the friendliest thing in the world, but you don't know that till you meet him.
Right.
So he just comes through the woods at 100 miles an hour at you.
Holy
and he just wants to
shit.
say hi. So the first day, I swear to God.
What's the scariest dog for you?
Rottweilers.
Yes.
They don't seem like to be. You can't reason with a Rottweiler.
Yes.
You know, they're drooly.
Right.
And they're bigger than a pit bull.
Yeah. Well, my number one is absolutely a German Shepherd.
You're scared of German Shepherds?
I got nipped on the inside of my left knee on a paper route when I was 12. I never got over it.
That doesn't sound very dramatic, Opie.
Huh?
That's not dramatic.
Well, it knocked me off my. Well, I was riding
You
my.
lost your balance. It wasn't the dog. You got nervous.
I was riding my.
You got the wobbling steering wheel. You know when you're a little kid and your steering wheel starts going 100 miles an hour because you're all scared?
Actually, I got a story about my sister that did just that.
No shit.
Yeah, we were delivering penny savers, which is
high-speed wobbles.
we were the only ones that delivered penny savers that we actually delivered them to houses. Everyone else we knew, they took their penny savers that day and dumped them somewhere, and then went and had a good time because no one gives a crap if their penny saver didn't show up. So my sister and I shared the route, and we only had one bike because we were really poor.
Right.
And my parents would drop us off. I don't know. She was like 12. No, how old was she? Whatever. She was like 16, I think, and I was 10. And my parents would drive us miles for this penny saver route, and then we'd have to ride the bike home. And my sister is a panicky Pete, and we're going down this really large hill, and she just panics and realizes that she doesn't know how to ride a bike anymore for some reason.
And the high-speed wobble sets in.
Yes, you brought back the memory, and then
Slow motion death.
And then the wobble happened, and then I wobbled to the left, wobbled to the right, and then wobbled back off to the right. Fucked up my knee so bad, screaming bloody murder. We had to knock on neighbors' doors until someone answered, and then
a different way growing up.
And then they would call our parents, and then they came.
Injured till someone helped you.
Yeah, of course.
Saw this? We built this. We put this.
What is this?
Solar powered, right here. So this is a motion light.
Yeah.
Let me tell you something.
I know what a motion light is.
I thought it was a good idea to have this motion light, but now when I'm in the cabin and it goes off at 2 in the morning, I know there's a giant monster animal out here. Whoa. So it's unsettling because when that light turns on,
right.
Next thing you know, there's a blackbird. He's just playing with himself, like just looking at you.
Yes.
Because they love this big window here.
Well, and this big window, this is how this started when I walked up to your cabin. They love sounds on podcasts. That's not too sturdy, man.
A bear will go right through it.
Right through that shit.
Right through it.
So anyway, German Shepherds are my number one scary dog.
Better Rottweilers than Dobermans because they're fast.
We got one in our building. It's a guard dog, German Shepherd. Every time I get in the elevator with it, it's like I'm 12 years old again, getting bit in the left knee. I panic.
I don't think the dog really bit you. I got to put you up for investigation. You might have just fell off the bicycle. You might have just got scared.
No.
This feels like a scared story.
No. And the funny thing is, I'm trying to tell my son, who's scared of all dogs, not to be scared of dogs. And then we're in the elevator, and that German Shepherd comes in.
Right.
He now looks at me, my son, who's only 7, and goes, "Dad, I thought I'm not supposed to be scared of dogs." He could see the fear in my face.
Oh my God, that's the worst. You want your coffee?
Yeah, let's. I think we did it as far as like the walk up to Carl's cabin. Now I'm going to turn the portable unit.
I got soda, pickles, and chocolate cookies, and I got sauce salami from Italy that they brought me. And 2 Bud Lights.
Wow, you're rocking out here.
Yeah, dude, I'm loaded for bear.
All right, listen. I'm going to turn off the portable unit.
How can they look you in the face and give you that? Seriously, Opie. Nobody chuckled. Nobody was like, "Here, dick." Like nothing. This is the equivalent of wearing a "kick me" sign on the back of your fucking shirt.
I'm a sick person, though, because I love this.
You do love this.
I love this.
You love that, like, starting from the bottom shit, man.
Yes, because that's the deal. So that's what I was trying to explain to Westwood One. I'm like, I don't need all the, the flashiness and all that stuff. I want to start from nothing.
Well, you nailed it. You know, because for me to make fun of you in a house like this, it's got to be bad, Opie.
I want to start from nothing, and then I want to.
Yeah, you did.
I want to build this in front of everybody.
Dude,
that's my goal.
The battery is building it by 100%.
Well, speaking of that, I keep looking. I think we only have a couple more minutes left on this battery.
Where's that from? My phone lasts all day.
I got doors out. Look at the back of this thing. Don't touch it.
It looks so heavy.
I'm panicking.
Opie has 3 buttons. This thing is not working. I don't believe any of this. I think you're just up here having fun.
Well, so we'll turn this off.
Yeah, let's turn that off. Or it'll turn off by itself.
And then I got to figure out how the other equipment works. We're going to set it up. Let me think. Should we set it up over here? Or should I set it up over here?
I would say over here.
Let me see your bathroom before I turn this off.
Not ready yet. I gotta clean it.
What do you mean not ready?
I gotta clean it. I just made a mess in there. Let me clean it.
I'm not allowed in your bathroom?
Not yet.
I just drove an hour to get here. I got to take a leak.
You can pee. Look at this. There's 14 acres. Go pee on a little bit on each tree like a crazy dog.
All right, you're collecting more garbage. All right, I'm here. I'm at Carl's cabin for the first episode of the OpieRadio Podcast. Now we're going to go and bring in the real equipment and sit down and sit down. What is this?
What do you mean?
You don't even have furniture in this place.
What is these 3 pieces? These are exclusive pieces from IKEA. Look at this beautiful red table.
What is that?
What are you talking about? That's not furniture. What is it?
Are those chairs from the old Yankee Stadium?
No, they're from my restaurant. They're from Marie's.
Well, that bombed. I mean, he actually answered me. You know, when they...
See, this is my closet. You can open her up.
You know when they demolish an old stadium and you had these old wooden... Oh, why am I explaining it? It looks like a chair that you would have sat to watch Babe Ruth play baseball. This is it?
This is my closet.
Bro, what happened? Are you going to tell me what happened?
Everything.
You're going to tell me everything? Okay. I'm walking into your bathroom because I got to go to the bathroom.
No, wait. Opie, don't you dare.
For real?
I'm anal. I got to clean it first.
How are you anal living like...
Because my bathroom is important.
All right, I'm turning this off for real. Let's go get the rest of the equipment.
Go get your equipment.
You won't even notice that we turned this off because it'll be a quick edit to us sitting down at this at this table. So
I bought you Dunkin' Donuts.
I see the Dunkin' Donuts. Thank you. I'm a big fan of D&D. All right. We'll be back.
The Westwood One Podcast Network. The Jim Ross Report.
By WrestleMania 2019, I would be very surprised if Braun Strowman not only is not in the main event, but that he wins that match and becomes the champion. As long as he's not force-fed and he's brought along organically at a nice, comfortable pace.
The Jim Ross Report. Download and subscribe at Apple Podcasts, Google Play, and the Westwood One Podcast app. Free from the Westwood One Podcast Network. Opie Radio.
What the fuck?
The Opie Radio Podcast.
What the fuck is he talking about?
I'm confused.
No, I make fun.
All right, we're back.
I hated that.
All right, we're back with the Opie Radio Show. All right, well, we set up the equipment. We're in Carl's cabin in the middle of nowhere in New Jersey, a lot of woods. And you just explained to me that there's like 10 miles to our left where no one could build, right?
Oh, this is a Fanley State Park.
So it's kind of creepy out here.
Well, it's creepy if you're a creep.
It's creepy, but it's quiet. It's peaceful. With my my meditation that I like to do. Maybe I could like sit on that log after we're done and just do like 20 minutes of meditation. You want to do some meditation with me?
I got to be honest about that log.
What?
I sat on that log.
Yeah?
There's like 19 beetles on my back in like 5 seconds. Really? I hate outside. I just like looking at it.
Do you have those fire ants out here?
There's all kinds of ants.
Yeah?
There's like an army of ants.
Really?
Wherever you stand there, ants tell the other ants, and in 10 minutes, the whole floor is black.
They're crawling up your leg?
It's awful.
That log looks very peaceful. I want to sit on that.
Giant beetles with horns on them in that thing.
Yeah, not good. But I think the equipment works. I had to set this whole thing up.
Right.
I hope people understand where I was with my career and where I'm now at.
Night and day.
I feel like when I first got into radio, I had to do some of that portable DJing to make ends meet, and I had to get equipment from this guy's house, his garage. He would set up a kit like the kit I just brought over to you,
right?
And then I would have to bring this kit to like a restaurant or some kind of hall and set it up and be like a party DJ, and that's how I made ends meet. And then at the end of the night, I had to bring all the equipment back to this guy's garage and drop it off. So I kind of feel like that's where I'm at again in my life. I got to actually set up a radio show in mobile locations.
I don't think this equipment's much different than the ones that you had back then.
No, of course not.
There's nothing digital on this machine.
Nothing. You were just looking around.
I'm looking at this thing. It looks like it should be in a Russian satellite from the 60s.
Oh, be careful. You went into the red. We got meters.
It's got a meter.
We got meters.
This thing looks like a Geiger counter.
I got to be honest. I deserve this. I deserve this.
This is karma.
I was getting a little too comfortable with everything where I would stroll in. I would have all these producers. I was doing radio with professionals.
Yes.
Not that you're not a professional, Carl. You understand what I'm trying to say here. And I had engineers, so if anything went wrong, they would run in and fix everything. And now we don't have any of those things. I don't have a producer. We don't have a producer. We don't have anything.
I'm not even supposed to be on the radio.
Why?
I'm a cook. How many bad decisions can you make in a row?
Actually, that's where I find the good people.
You do.
Just regular people that know how to be funny. And it's
pretty, isn't it?
Well, I wouldn't describe it as pretty.
Tread lightly, Opie.
I would describe it as very quaint.
I'll take quaint.
Very
don't look down like that. I hate the way you're looking down. That's not a nice.
Is that a linoleum floor?
Those are custom tiles from the 60s.
They're custom tiles.
Yes, those are hand cut to be put there. That's when plastic first started.
Yeah,
that's artisanal.
And is your whole cabin kind of sliding into the woods? Because I noticed there's a dramatic decline from the front door to your bedroom.
Because of my weight problem, I am very gravity sensitive, and I do walk faster towards the bedroom than I do towards the kitchen.
Yeah, you're walking downhill in this part.
I don't think you should point things out like that. I think it's mean to be at someone's home.
I enjoy it.
I know.
I'm enjoying it so far. I do like the quaintness of it.
It is very quaint.
But it seems like it's a cabin right out of one of those teenager slasher movies.
Oh, everything.
Right.
Oh, yes. Right. Oh, yes. One of my city friends came here, and he has no filter.
Yeah.
And he comes in, he goes, "This is the worst effing place. I want to leave right now." He goes, "There's so many ghosts in there, I can't even fit."
Really?
Yeah, he felt the ghost energy in here.
No,
Yes.
I believe in that shit.
He believes there's ghosts in here.
Really?
He thinks someone was killed in here.
No, but I wouldn't be surprised.
I mean,
that I wouldn't be surprised because that's a plexiglass window. That window has been replaced.
Someone jumped out of there with a knife in their back.
Of course. And the landlord's like, I'll just put a plexiglass window up for the next guy.
Time to put it back on Zillow.
Right. I'll tell you that at night, this cabin has to have a much different feel.
Yeah.
During the day, it's all bright and cheery, and you look out this window, you can see a deer or a black bear at any moment. And then at night, man, every noise has got to freak you out. It has to.
It's a 200-foot walk from the car
Oh, really?
To the cabin.
And it's pitch dark, right?
It's a different type of dark. It's like you're blind dark.
Oh.
And things just make noise out there. And you're like, what is that? And I swear, I am a nervous wreck. I shake to open the door. I got my phone lying there. I dropped the phone. The other day, I dropped my phone outside. I left it outside. I was so scared. I left my phone outside and just went to sleep.
See, I'm breaking you down. This is what I'm good at, breaking you down. You're like, no, Ope, you're going to love this place. It's so cool. You're scared of darkness.
I hate it here. This is the worst decision I ever made in my life. The woods is bullshit.
I hate it here. So I think we got to tell the people how we know each other and a little of your history, Carl.
Sure.
Because we never went through that on the old radio show at that satellite company.
Oh, we don't talk about them.
I had a good time there.
I'm sure you did in the hallway. Do you mind if I open this beer up?
No, let's do that. So what kind of beer you got today?
This is Founders CBS, Michigan guys.
Yeah.
Founders Brewery. They're unbelievable. So this is an imperial stout.
Yeah.
So it's nice and it's nice and heavy. With chocolate and coffee.
I don't like stouts.
I'll drink the whole thing. I'm so nervous up here. I'll drink this whole thing.
Look at me. I don't like it.
I'm kind of upset that I got to share it.
You only have one beer.
Well, it's a giant beer.
Yeah.
And I was hoping you'd say no, but now you want to drink. I don't know.
No, I'll check it out for real.
All right, let's try.
I'm not sure if I actually like stouts. I don't know why. Do you like stouts?
This is one of the best beers in the world.
And what makes a beer a stout?
Oh, I don't know.
You really don't know?
Yeah, it's a style. It's a really cool style.
Yeah.
Lloyd.
What fraternity did you get these cups from?
I got these at the dollar store.
Okay.
They're red plastic cups.
They're wonderful. There should be a fraternity logo on the side of this cup.
What the hell's wrong with you? You just came up here and just shit on everything that I have.
I can't shit on the fact you got plastic cups.
These are biodegradable in a couple hundred years.
All right.
Huh? Try that.
Whoa. Yeah. That is smooth for real, man.
So here's the problem with starting to get talking about beers.
Yeah.
People that are beer nerds are the same as like Trekkies or Star Wars people or, they're so nerdy into this that I tread lightly.
Right.
And I try to stay away from the beer craft craze because the people are out of their minds. They're out of their minds. Jehovah Witness crazy.
Right.
So I know a couple good beers that I like, but usually I don't drink light beers. Like we were talking the other day, right?
Yeah.
I like 70s style lagers and pilsners.
Like Schlitz?
Like Schlitz.
Old Milwaukee.
Old Milwaukee.
PBRs.
Right, because I drink bourbon.
Yeah.
And I just use beer as a lubricating agent so that I can get drunk and fall asleep out here in the wilderness.
And forget about your problems.
Oh, man, they don't go away anymore. There's too many. There is too many. My life is so awful right now.
We will get to why Carl's living in a cabin.
I just look at my Instagram like 6 months later before. I'm like, oh, that was good.
Yeah. Well, people make fun of me because I like a little fruit in my beers. A little bit, right? The grapefruit beer.
Right.
Yeah, I really do like, a little lemon and whatnot. But I do have to tell you this. I like those same beers as you do.
Yeah.
The old school.
Like the old Olympia beers, Jenny's.
Well, because it brings back memories of like you're with your boys. You're not really allowed to drink yet. So someone sneaks a 6-pack and it's always a cheap beer and you go in the woods and you drink. So when I taste like an old Milwaukee or a PBR, Schlitz, it brings you right back to being in the woods looking at some dumb Playboy magazine.
Yeah, like I did
wondering what
yesterday.
tree you're going to whack off behind. That was Tuesday.
Good old Tuesday.
Right.
But let me tell you something. And another thing that I love about cheap beers is I drink at a high rate of speed. I like to chug beers.
Do you really?
Yeah. So
you don't like enjoying a beer?
I'm enjoying the hell out of it at 100 miles an hour.
When you're chugging it?
Oh, because it's so refreshing and crisp.
Right. All right. I get that.
Like usually, look at me. Usually my salt content's through the roof. So I'm always thirsty.
Yeah.
Right? So I take a little shot of Jim Beam. And then all of a sudden I get this ice cold out of a cooler. There's nothing better. Real ice.
Yeah.
And you crack that beer and you do half of it, one shot. Oh my God.
I can't do that.
I know you can't. I've been with you long enough.
Anyway, first burp on the new podcast.
There you go. Wow, write that one down.
So what is this called? It's called Founders CBS.
CBS. All the beer nerds will love it. It's an
Imperial Stout brewed with chocolate and coffee, aged in maple syrup. I taste the maple syrup.
Isn't that delicious?
And it's what, aged in bourbon barrels?
I think so.
Very nice, Carl. For real, that's really, really nice. I got to mention they're showing a lot of Corona commercials on TV.
Okay.
And I'm watching a lot of basketball, a lot of the NBA playoffs and whatnot. So they're showing Corona, and they're making Corona sound like it's the most amazing beer ever.
Right.
And they show people like putting the lime in the Corona. Can you explain why they do that? Because I found that fascinating when you first told me.
It has nothing to do with the flavor. Nothing. Most in Central South America and in the Yucatan and all these places, you drink outside. Actually, you basically live outside.
Right.
People don't realize how in and out the life is out there. Right. Your house is basically just a little shelter. Mm-hmm. A lot of it has to do with poverty, overwhelming poverty.
Right.
I mean, but the bugs there are like Jurassic Park. They're very aggressive. They're like New York City pigeons. They don't care.
Yeah.
A bug will fly right into your head.
Yeah.
Right into your mouth. They don't care.
Right.
So people put an acid on the neck of the beer so that the bugs won't fall into your beer when you're drinking outside. Same thing with margaritas. They put salt on the rim. It has nothing to do
But the taste.
Like, you know how many times I'm sitting there and then you got some Bloomingdale's mom just sitting there saying, oh, I love the salt. I'm like, I hate everything about you. I want you to have an aneurysm.
I'm a big fan of margaritas. Big fan. And I don't mind a little salt on the rim.
It's silly.
So everyone thinks they're being sophisticated, but the tradition started just to keep the bugs away.
Opie, it's so easy with food and alcohol to make people be complete idiots. I remember we would go, when we were chefs, we would get invited to wine tastings.
Yeah.
So one time we had a wine tasting at the Plaza, and they were doing verticals of Rothschild.
Right.
Rothschild's a very high-end Bordeaux,
Nice.
right? And we were in there with all our chef credentials and everything, and we would pick somebody like a Mark and make them agree with us, and we would say stupid stuff about the wine,
right.
And they would agree. So we would come up to people, and the lady would look, and we had the Jack executive chef. So all of a sudden, we have all the prominence in the world. Mm-hmm. You know, we're an authority. So I would take a sip of some crazy wine, and the lady would be looking at me, and I would say, I'm getting a lot of wet clay. And the lady would look at me, and then as she's looking at me, she would take a sip. And I would see her nod her head in agreement. She's like, I get it. It's all there, all in the front, right, Carl? I said, absolutely, just wet clay everywhere.
Everywhere.
And we would just stare at this lady like, you're an idiot.
Yeah.
You can't even think what you're even tasting on your own.
Right.
You know, you just saw this guy. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I've been high for a month.
Right.
I just had a Twix bar. Yeah. I can't taste the thing.
Right.
But you're going to agree with me that it tastes like wet clay. And
Yeah.
that's why you stay away. And especially like with beers like this, there's so many people that have no qualifications whatsoever, and they just rant these talking points.
Yeah.
On beer. Like these people, like they're really into IPAs, right?
I'm not a fan of IPAs.
Let me tell you a little story about IPAs.
Yeah,
Opie.
please.
So IPAs were designed to be bad beers. You can ask me why. Well, when the British occupied India, there was no beer in India. So the British would ship beer from England.
Right.
What they would do is they would call them IPAs. They would load them up with hops, and they would make them super bitter so that they could withstand the travel.
Is that where the IPAs come from?
So it's actually a faulty beer. Right off the bat. And I just sit here and I listen to these people like, did you have the whatever IPA? I'm like, no. That's like potted meat.
They're too bitter for me.
Of course they're designed to withstand shipment on a hot boat from Europe to India.
Do you think most people just make believe that they like IPAs?
Most people make believe they like most things.
Really?
And I've noticed that in food. There's very few people I know that are honest with their own palate. Mm. And that's why if you see a lot of on my Instagram and everything, I never post anything over $20. Like
I'd rather talk about a hamburger where we can all talk about it.
Right.
When I see these food trends and I see people eating salmon, they don't like the way it tastes. It tastes like shit.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Well, what I learned from you, traveling here and there and going to a lot of restaurants, I always thought, stupid me, when I first started making money, that I needed to like up the quality of the restaurant I went to get better food. And you're shaking your head. No, of course. And when we went to Philly and we went on a little food tour, you were showing me all these tiny little joints.
Right.
Most people would call them holes in the wall.
Right.
And the food was just as good as some fancy restaurant in Manhattan.
When I was in the high end business, in the restaurant business, I think it was 80% fraud.
Really?
I used to see chefs write menus before they even made the food. So they would write the menu to sound a certain way.
Yeah.
They would hit all the cliche points, everything that was hot. Black kale Caesar salad. Bleh.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Right.
This and that. But they never cooked it.
With a hint of lemon.
Buh.
With a hint of this
With a
and
hint
that.
of BS. and I would see, and that would really turn me off to the high-end world where I saw these chefs, you know what I mean? And they would make all this food.
Yeah.
After the fact. So they would cook to meet whatever they wrote on the menu. And I found that so bizarre. So what I realized, as a young chef was all these high-end guys would end up at a burger joint or a dive bar because their palates were honest.
Yeah.
They had great palates, but they weren't transferring that honesty to their customer who's paying $100. Mm-hmm. There's very few chefs that make food at that level that is honest. You have a guy like Eric Ripert at Le Bernardin.
Of course.
Yeah, you don't have no idea.
No.
I might as well say Mickey Mouse.
Right.
So this guy, he's one of the few. He makes food that he likes, and people, they eat it and they accept it because he's a 4-star Michelin guy, but still, he's an honest chef. But then I see some guy with a handlebar mustache and a lamb in a fence tattoo, and all of a sudden he's driving his unicycle to work, and I got to listen to his garbage.
Right.
He's a fraud. He doesn't have what it takes, and that's why I eat simple food, because that's how I was taught. The old French chefs taught me. They said, you want to learn how to cook a pepper? You have to eat it raw. And they would teach us for weeks. You want to use a lemon? Eat a lemon. You want to use an orange? Eat an orange. We used to have to eat every product raw so that we understood what its base flavor, what its honest flavor, its baseline was.
Yeah.
Now chefs, everything comes prepackaged. It's smoke and mirrors.
Why'd you get into cooking?
I got into cooking. My grandfather got me into cooking. When I was 11 years old, about to turn 12, my grandfather calls me, and my grandfather was very wise, very short with words. And he said to me, "Carl, come over here." I said, "Yeah, what's up, Grandpa?" He says, "I keep hearing your grandmother and your mother tell you that you're special. You're not special." He says, "You see your brother over there? Now that kid's special." He goes,
Could you explain your brother to the people that haven't heard yet?
he basically can levitate if he wanted to. That's how, he's a cardiothoracic surgeon.
He operates on...
Babies,
But he operates on babies that are still in the womb.
Yeah, no, that's his wife. She's an OBGYN trauma surgeon.
They married each other?
It's like two computers married each other.
Oh my God, why would you do that?
Let me tell you something. You're at a family party and they have jokes with each other.
Yeah.
And it's just, they fall so hard they break the table.
Right.
Like my brother look at Katie and be like, "Oh, and that's what the scalpel said." And I'm like, "Boo! Boo!" I mean, they're the most unfunny two human beings I've ever seen.
I honestly think if you're highly intelligent like your brother,
Yeah.
that you should marry like a Perkins waitress.
Yeah.
Right?
Well, I did that, and that doesn't work out either.
We're going to explain why Carl is living in a cabin.
Perkins in, Perkins out.
But you know what I mean? Because now you're bringing your work home, and they're probably just trying to have a nice family dinner and discussing what went on at the hospital that day.
Here's the problem with two really smart people. They're very pragmatic, right? So they think everything out.
Yeah.
So everything is like a strategy session. Like they're like one of the daughters, Lucy. Oh, Lucy wants to do this now. Wants to play soccer. And next thing you know, my brother's got a spreadsheet and shit. I'm like, let the kid play.
Let the kid be a kid.
Let the kid be a kid.
Right.
So they're so smart that they get, everything is almost like a bureaucracy. You can't get anything done.
Yeah. So what does he do exactly? So his wife is the one that operates on babies that are still in the womb.
He deals with people that have less than 10% to live, with massive congenital heart defects. So he's basically the Grim Reaper.
Wait, does he operate on kids or everybody?
Kids, I think mostly kids.
So, how you have to be? How do I say this carefully? He has to be autistic in a way. Or he has to be like slightly dead inside. You
could see the spectrum coming out of his eyes.
I mean, I'm not trying to be rude, but if your whole job is where you're dealing with parents that have a really sick kid and they are coming to you knowing they only have a 10% chance.
Yeah, he's the Grim Reaper. That's what I call him.
But how do you go home?
Like nothing, like a switch.
It doesn't bother him?
He'll come home, play with the kids, laugh, and he'll talk to you about it.
Right.
Like I'm talking about, drinking a beer.
I don't know how you do
Completely
that.
Completely clinical. Doesn't even faze him.
So it doesn't faze him if he's saving the kid.
Doesn't faze him one way or another.
And it doesn't faze him if the kid doesn't make it.
If the kid doesn't make it,
I can't wrap my head around that.
Me either.
And it leads.
He has the same attitude as a serial killer.
Really?
I think it's the same thing, just on another side.
It's funny you should say that because my daughter went on a play date recently.
With a doctor? How old is she?
My daughter's 5.
Gotcha.
And it was me and the dad. So he doesn't work. He does nothing. I go, what do you do? He goes, I do nothing.
Was he at Sirius XM too?
He collects records. I kind of got along with the guy.
So you were with E-Rock?
He collects records. He collects all the Beatles imports. Oh, you need the Japanese press because of blah, 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 blah.
You think that's cool?
It was cool listening to records with the guy.
You sat and listened to records?
Yeah, while our kids were running around playing.
Stranger danger.
And my daughter almost broke.
Wait, hold on.
What? I got too much to say now.
Oh my God, Opie, give me 1 second. Where were you? Would he just bring a record player on a dolly?
No, I went to his house.
Okay.
With and our kids played together, and we were listening to records, and he was explaining stuff, and in a way, it was kind of interesting. But
what do you do with your hands and eyes, like with records?
What do you mean?
Like, do you stare at each other while the record's playing? Do you look at other stuff? Do you look at your phone?
Well, it was one of those snowy days in New York City. So I was looking out the window.
You guys were looking out the window listening to records?
Making believe I cared about the Japanese import of the Beatles Abbey Road.
You hated it. Don't lie to me. You hated being there.
You know what? You're right. You're right.
That guy sucks.
And then it didn't help that my little daughter almost broke her ankle on an exercise bike.
Of course, you guys are staring at each other's eyes listening at imported records.
All of a sudden, wow, I'm really good at this, so don't worry. I'm going to bring it back to Carl, his brother, and everything. Trust me, this is my expertise. But my daughter is now on an exercise bike from the 70s. You know, those old school. Where
is everything this guy have old?
Yeah. And, you usually see these exercise bikes in like old people's houses that they maybe exercised 20 years prior, and now it's like a coat rack.
Right.
So my daughter's on it, and I'm like, I don't know if she should be on that, man. But then this guy's daughter was on it. I'm like, all right, if his daughter's on it, then I guess my daughter could do. And then my daughter goes, Daddy, can we stay? I'm having so much fun here. And it's a nice snowy day in New York. It's like almost like a blizzard outside. They ordered pizza. It's kind of nice as far as a play date goes, right? All of a sudden now I'm listening.
Sound like two gay parents.
I know. Now I'm listening to another Beatles song from some Australian import. I don't know.
But is it the same song?
No, we're switching records. And
no, but I'm saying, like, does the import song sound the same as the regular?
To me, it does.
This guy sucks.
Because my ears are dead from doing so many years of radio. So
and your soul too. What are you doing in there?
I mean, he has a turntable, and he's trying to explain why the turntable's better than the CDs. And I'm like, man, you're talking to the wrong person because I can't hear anymore.
I would shoot a flare up and have it extracted out of that party.
Anyway, so then my daughter's like, can we stay? 2 minutes later, Carl, she's screaming bloody murder. She fell off the bike and got her foot stuck. And I looked at this ankle and we're like, oh my, I thought she broke her leg. Long story short, she was fine in the end, but it was bad, really bad.
But good, because you got to leave, right? Injured kid, but no more of this.
Oh, I'm grabbing her. Thank you. Trying to get a cab, and by the time I got the cab and got her in the back seat, I realized we don't have to go to the hospital. But Actually went to the doctor the next day, but that's now it's becoming boring. It wasn't broken. So anyway, this guy, he's a stay-at-home dad, and basically says, "Yeah, I don't do nothing. My wife's a doctor." And I go, "Well, what do you do?" And he explained the record collection. And he goes, "I categorize my records. That's what I do every day." So he gets these records.
Don't go there anymore.
He gets these records.
Keep your kids away from this guy.
He listens to it, and then he decides he rates it. The quality of the record.
He rates it.
Yeah, all this stuff. He's part of a Facebook club and all that. He's
a bunch of other mavericks.
In. But I really did like the guy. So his wife, getting back to your brother, his wife operates on breast cancer. Right. And she does a lot of these surgeries. I mean, a lot, like 20 a week.
Yeah, that's good.
So
money.
She's seen a lot of death too.
Yeah.
And I mean, and a lot of success. Maybe not as bad as your brother, where it's 10%, but she's probably, she's trying to save people's lives as well. So I was trying to talk to this guy about movies and TV shows. He goes, "Oh, in this house, because of what my wife does, when she comes home, we don't watch anything heavy." So he goes, "I'm into the Gilmore Girls."
Don't ever go there. I hate this story. But I don't hate this story because it's a great story. I'm glad your kid's fine.
But it made sense to me because, he's kind of frustrated because I was talking about...
I'm frustrated. I wasn't even there.
I'm talking about, like, Walking Dead and all this, and he's like... Yeah, we're not allowed to watch any of that because when she comes home, she wants to turn off and watch just mindless stuff. So he goes, "I actually am really into the Gilmore Girls." And he's like, "I'm probably the only heterosexual male that's into the Gilmore Girls."
There would be, if I was there, a throat punch coming from across the couch. He would be in a full fight with me.
I swear I like the guy, though.
Why?
I don't know. I liked him.
He's a creep.
So it goes back to your brother who's like just an intellect.
Right.
And his job is pretty freaking brutal. So now back to you.
Yes.
All right. So your grandfather goes to you. You're not like your brother, who's like just highly intelligent and is going to be this incredible doctor.
Always a nerd.
Yeah.
And he was like Morrissey when he was a little kid, like sexless.
Really?
He didn't like girls.
Did he like boys though?
No, he didn't like anything.
So how did
he would study all day like a weirdo?
But how did he get into trying to keep it clean on the podcast?
Right.
How did he get into, the putty as
I think his wife bumped into his crotch and he's like, "Will you marry me?"
One and done, you think?
No, it was two and done.
He went two and done.
He had a girlfriend.
Yeah.
Well, no, let me back this up. This is a sensitive story in my house.
Really?
So
he's going to be listening to this. Is he going to be cool with this?
I'll knock him out.
All right, good.
So my brother and I go on vacation one year to Aruba. And there was this girl from Colombia, from Cartagena, and she was a smoke show. Right?
Yeah.
And my brother falls in love with this girl.
Really?
And my brother does something that's unspeakable to me. Goes and tells my mother and father at his age, he was like 16, "I'm in love with this girl. How do I get her, Mom?" And I'm like, "Ew!" Ew! Like I'm sitting by the pool, I'm like, "Ew! You're the worst."
How old were you?
A year and a half to a year. So I was 14.
And he was...
But New York City, 14.
And he's 15 and a half, 16?
16. But he's...
So I would assume at that point that you were already getting laid.
I lost my virginity at 12.
Did you really?
Yes. Yes.
Wow.
To a famous musician's daughter that I can't say, 'cause she'll listen to this.
Can you write it down? How famous is the musician?
Back then, as famous as you could imagine.
80s?
Late 70s, early 80s.
Like rock?
Like R&B.
R&B. Black?
Oh, yeah.
She was black?
Chocolate Thunder. Oh. She was beautiful.
We're gonna talk.
She looked like Lisa Bonet.
We're gonna talk about my black fetish on a future episode.
What do you mean black? Have you ever dated a black girl?
Not dated, but.
So then that's nothing to talk about. It's a whole different experience.
I lassoed one and brought her home.
And then what happened? She didn't like your Beatles records?
Well, oh boy, here
What'd
we
you
go.
do, Opie?
I try to,
You did something in front of her?
I try to go down.
Downtown, right? No good?
Rough.
Hot garbage? How old were you?
Rough.
Did she run home?
I was old.
Oh, you gotta be careful with that.
No, it was, you know.
But you're not a quitter, man. You gotta follow it through. Just don't do it again, but you gotta finish it.
It was the waft. It was the odor.
You couldn't put your T-shirt over your nose?
It was rough.
You could have ninja'd out?
It was rough.
You gotta ninja it out. You gotta suck it through.
Very sexy, but it took me out of the game. But anyway.
That takes you out. Nothing takes me out of the game.
That doesn't take you out of the
Not
game?
even death will take me out of the game. I'm
Really?
Cuban. There's not once we engage, it's full gone.
Oh my God.
You have to get a stick, like when a pit bull locks on someone, and pull me off with a stick.
Smells are rough with me.
It doesn't bother me. I'm a chef. I can smell anything.
I broke up with girls over the years because the smell wasn't right.
Oh, I'm not talking about the break.
I'm like, the smell's not right. This means something with nature. I'm moving on.
It means it's all
I'm
right.
moving on.
It means-
So you lost your virginity at 12 to I got to bring all this together. Oh my God, all my skills. I'm going to need all my skills. All right, I'm thinking. Okay, 12-year-old, lose your virginity, R&B, famous singer's daughter.
Yeah, gorgeous.
How many hits?
At least 10. At least 10 gold records.
In the late 70s?
Easy.
Part of an R&B group?
Yeah.
Earth, Wind, and Fire?
Close, but no.
Come on.
I'm not going to tell you even if you get there, but no, it's not Earth, Wind, and Fire.
All right, anyway, so you lost your virginity at 12. Your brother's 16, and he's hot for this girl.
And he's treading water asking my mother what to do.
Really?
Right? And I'm like, boo, by the pool. So my mother starts giving him advice. And even at 15, I knew this advice was awful. It was awful.
Yeah.
This girl wanted an aggressive... She was on vacation. She wanted to get down. Right?
Oh, really?
I could smell it.
Really?
My brother couldn't smell a thing.
And your brother had no moves.
He wants to hold hands with this girl into the sunset.
And
this girl wants to get buried behind a palm tree.
Oh, I feel so bad for your brother.
And so my mother, listen to how bad this is. You know what my mother's advice was? Georgie, that's what he called, which was bad off the bat.
Yeah.
Georgie, write her a nice little note on how you feel. I'm like, don't do that, boo! You're gonna die.
Ew! How many days are you on vacation?
Ew, this could have been closed in an hour. She wanted to close the deal. She was ready.
So you guys are only there for a week.
Yeah, we can afford more than a week.
So she's smart enough to know that I'm just trying to get some action on vacation, and your brother's thinking, I'm going to marry this girl.
This is my life partner at 16 years old, right?
So, God.
I mean, talking about making every single one of the wrong moves.
Yeah.
So he goes upstairs with my mother, and they're in the little swim trunks and stuff. So she goes upstairs with my mom, and they come back with a revised note. I'm like, dude, you can't have mom write you a love note. This is awful. I hate everything about this. And my father is like, my father knew I was different than my brother. He's like, just leave him alone. They're having fun. Just leave him alone. Go get daddy another a Johnny Walker Black. Did you see that girl? Did you see that girl in the red? Nipple's been hard since 2 in the afternoon.
Your mom's just hitting him.
And I was, shut up, Jesse. Right. Shut up. You're so fresh. You're going to turn that kid into a girl. He's screaming, right? But my brother's all in. Writes this note, goes and hands it to the girl. Now me, I'm like cloak and dagger. I'm behind the pool watching the look on the disappointment on this girl's face when my brother shows up with like a perfectly folded note in hotel stationery. This is awful. And goes, here, and he runs away like he was just serving somebody, like he was serving papers for somebody.
Yeah.
Took off running. I'm like, George, what are you doing? I watched the girl. She opens the note, and then her friend comes, who's another little fireball, and they both look at the note, and they start laughing, like, whatever. She puts the note right in the garbage. And I go back to my brother, because I'm special ops. I'm like, no more notes. Go over there, put your tongue all the way down her throat until she pushes you away. And guess what? She's not gonna. Carl, you're an idiot. Okay, George. Fast forward, vacation's over. Now, my brother, for the next year, is a pen pal with this girl.
With the girl.
Note after letter after thing.
How far away?
She's in Colombia.
Oh, you said, okay.
We are in New Jersey.
Oh, my God.
So my mother, listen to this. Mm-hmm. My mother arranges convinces my dad it's time to go to Colombia. So the next year on vacation, we go see the girl in Bogota. Now, I'm a year wiser. I'm almost a Navy SEAL at this point. You know what I mean? And my brother has not changed one bit. He's got a whole stack of letters that he wants to give her and more correspondence. And now he's head over heels. A year. And it was funny, like he would send like 9 notes and she would send back what the equivalent is now of a text of like LOL or hi. Like she would send like little things, right?
Yeah.
And they come meet us at the airport. Now I'm a little older and she is looking fierce.
Yeah,
oh
kid.
My God. And now the other little friend, she's in tow. And during this whole correspondence, they're like, I'm going to hook up your brother with my friend Claudia. So we get to the airport. They're waiting for us. We get off the plane. There's like a little glass thing wait for us to go through customs. The girl Luna gives my brother a hug. I immediately start making out with the other girl. In the airport, my mom pulls me off, tells me I'm being disgusting, disrespected the family. But I knew this girl was ready to ride, right? We go out that night clubbing. Now my brother's still holding her hand. It's awful.
Oh, God.
He's holding her hand, and
Why is she still holding his hand at this point?
My hand has not come off this girl's butt, my girl,
right,
since the airport.
Right.
I'm a sweaty creep.
Oh, he's holding the hand of the new one.
Of the new one.
All right, sorry, yes.
And I got her friend who's just along for the ride.
Right.
She can't wait. She's having the time of her life. Right? We get to the club, and we're in Bogota, so it is crazy. So the minute I get into the club, I realize, I'm like, wait a second. You can buy drugs here, everything. Like, I'm gonna buy a gun. This is an amazing place. So I'm doing shots, and my brother can't hold the alcohol. So my brother does 4 shots of aguardiente. It's what we drink in Colombia. Now my brother gets upset because I'm dancing with both the girls. I'm all fucked up. I'm all messed up. And he gets upset and goes, I'm going back to the hotel. Leaves me with his little pen pal and her friend. Now they got to deal with me.
Oh.
So I go hog wild on these 2 girls. Bring them back to the hotel. Start making out with both of them in the lobby. The guy that ran the lobby came up to me and said, sir, and I'm 16, but you stay at this hotel, you're a big deal. In South America, it's a whole different world out there.
Yeah.
You can't be doing this here. We have guests coming back and forth. There's an empty room we'd like to give you, and then you could just
For real?
Dude, they were so nice.
Wow.
And we just went in, and
it was over.
It was one of the best nights of my life.
Beautiful.
You want to talk about a family problem?
Right.
My brother took it to the Supreme Court, which is going to my mother and my father.
Well, why'd you tell anyone?
I didn't. When we had.
But it seems like he would never know that all went down.
He didn't know it went down. But what happened is the next day, Luna, his girl, was like, listen, I don't want to be this kind of guy, but me and your brother are kind of cool with each other. And then my brother started putting it together.
Oh, shit.
And my brother was like, Ma, Coral kissed Luna. I'm like, I kissed her at 7. I kissed her this morning.
That is so weird that you and your brother are so different. He doesn't drink.
Doesn't drink, doesn't do anything.
Nothing.
I'll smoke a goat that's walking outside.
No kidding.
And he just nothing. And
so how is that? I mean,
we're like Danny DeVito and Arnold Schwarzenegger and twins, like just completely different.
I'm one of 5 boys in my family,
right.
7 kids,
right.
And we're all more or less the same.
But he's a super brain, though. That's I think that's the difference.
Yeah, but I've been with you long enough. Joking aside, you're really intelligent, really smart. And what I've learned about you over the years is you're street smart.
Well, I'm street smart.
The stuff you have taught me is pretty amazing. And
just
I hope
common sense.
Your common sense knowledge is second to none, for real. And I hope we could talk about some of this on the podcast, because a lot of times on the old radio show, I wish some of this came out and it didn't.
Right.
I mean, we're really close these days, and I'll call you with some kind of issue, and you'll just You'll just hit me with some common knowledge that puts it all into a place where I'm an understanding.
Right.
I'm like, oh my God, of course that's what's going on here.
I think, Opie, what it comes from, it's I think everyone has it in the beginning. You know, me and you had pretty much the same upbringing where not a lot of money and a lot of stuff.
Yeah.
But I think I went into business very early. You know, as a chef, you're like a private contractor, right?
Yeah.
So,
wait, can you hold this? Because I know this is going to end up being another 20 minutes. So
Yeah.
I'm gonna walk 5 feet to Carl's bathroom in the cabin.
It's at least 8 feet. Don't be an ass.
It's 8 feet? Okay. But I want to keep this rolling. So
Yeah, go ahead.
Just talk about whatever you want and promote your stuff. Promote your stuff. Your restaurant.
I'm not going to talk about anything. We'll cut here.
No, we're not cutting.
No cutting.
No.
What if I want to have a cigarette?
Oh, you want to have a cigarette?
Yeah, let's go have a cigarette.
All right, that's what we're going to do. I'm going to go to the bathroom.
We'll take a smoke break.
But they're not going to know that it was a smoke break because it's just going to be like da-da-da, right back at it. So, all right. I'm at Carl's cabin in the middle of the woods in New Jersey. I'm going to go to the bathroom. Carl's going to have a cigarette, and
Why
we're
don't
going
you
to
go
continue.
to the bathroom outside?
Huh?
You don't like going to the bathroom outside?
I can?
It's one of my favorite things to do here.
Yeah.
Being in nature is...
You're not trying to look at my peen, are you?
I mean, why don't you go outside right here by the window? Come on, Kaza. Do the right thing.
It's not gay if there's not a house 10 miles from here.
Do Uncle Carl a favor and go take a pee-pee by the window.
Looks like our relationship's going to the next level.
You can't get out of here.
All right, I'm pausing this. You're gonna smoke. I'm gonna pee behind one of these trees, and we're gonna continue this conversation. Where were we at? I gotta remember now.
My brother being corny.
No, I know that. Oh, and you getting into the restaurant business at a very early age. All right, we'll be back.
Bye-bye.
And that's how he signs off? No tease, no begging for reviews? Fucking radio guy. Come on, let's just do this. In 3, 2, 1. Westwood One voice guy here. Opie won't be coming back from pissing on a tree as Carl slowly kills himself while trying to get a peek at the fallen radio star's peen. But no worries, this conversation in the solitary woods of New Jersey will continue. Here's a little taste of what's coming up on the next episode of Opie Radio.
I know you're dying for a cigarette.
I am.
I asked how you met Guy Fieri.
Why did you drink this so much?
What do you mean? We shared it.
I wanted to open it because usually you take like a little baby sip and you're...
No, it's really good.
I know, that's not good. I mean, this is a hard beer to get.
Oh, really?
Yeah, it's
You're
cool.
bummed?
Yeah, it's cool.
Are you kidding me? We were drinking the Founders CBS Imperial Stout brewed with chocolate and coffee, aged in maple syrup, bourbon barrels. You know what? I tasted all of that. Yeah. Most of the time when you
That's
know,
cool, man. It's empty. That's cool. No, I mean, stop talking about it. It's like talking about somebody that died.
No, but I'm going to explain some food knowledge to
drank
you
it
for
so
once.
fast. You never drank it this fast.
Half the time when some, they describe a beer like it has a hint of this or that.
This one is actually...
I tasted
Right?
all that.
Exactly. I don't think Founders makes a bad beer.
It was excellent. So I asked you how you met Guy Fieri, which leads to us meeting, and
Right.
it'll be a great way to wrap up this podcast or show or whatever the hell we're calling it.
Opie Radio. Don't forget to subscribe, leave comments, and of course, a 5-star rating on Apple Podcasts from the Westwood One Podcast Network.